Hello, everyone. This is Attorney Gehi, and it's a pleasure being with all of us. And so this today, I'm doing the honors of introducing Anjali. Just to switch things around, I thought it's a good idea to change the momentum a bit. And so today we are going to talk about family-based immigration, and I'm going to ask Anjali to do the honors. Then with me is our tech expert, that's Rahul Dasa, and Mike, who's also on the tech team. And I need to personally thank Priyanjali Guha Roy for joining us with bringing everything together. So people who are here today are really going to learn a lot. And this is going to be good for people who want to have a very good understanding in connection with the basics of family-based immigration. And after a few sessions, we are also going to train people who want to become very good in family-based immigration, especially people who are new lawyers, people who are kind of midway in their career, and also highly experienced lawyers will benefit a lot from my experience, especially because we are going to take it all the way to the federal court in future, which means we are not going to leave any stone unturned, to make sure that we give you the very best from our end. And these are based upon my personal experiences. The objectives may differ, but I'll try to do my best to educate our viewers in connection with everything they need to know about family-based immigration. So to make a long story short, this will continue over a period of time because it's going to take a very long time for me to explain everything about family-based immigration. So Anjali, welcome, and please do your opening statements so then I can continue further.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gehi, and good afternoon to all the attendees and all the people who are watching us. I am Anjali, your moderator for today, also heading the sales and marketing division for My Legal Software. My Legal Software is a legal case management software that is created for the lawyers, by the lawyers. We created My Legal Software with an extensive research and feedback given by lawyers and the paralegals. Today is November 3rd, and we are here with our weekly webinar. Today, we are going to talk about the ABCs of how to start your family-based immigration practice. And this series offers the perfect opportunity to improve your understanding of the fundamentals of the family-based immigration, gain familiarity with its basic features and procedures, as well as to learn insights from very experienced and highly esteemed practitioners of family-based immigration law with a proven track record. Today in the speakers panel, we have with us Mr. Naresh Gehi, who is a very highly experienced immigration corporate attorney in New York. He specializes in assisting clients in extremely complex immigration matters. His firm, Gehi Associates, has close to 80 members working internationally and is growing at a fast pace. Mr. Gehi serves as a personal advisor to the president of Suriname, wherein he advises the president in connection with reforming the laws of the country. Also, I would like to mention that Mr. Gehi is the founder of My Legal Software, wherein he serves as a mentor and a trainer to the people who are associated with it. The second guest speaker today, we have Mr. Michael Anthony. He is a marketing guru with an extensive career in marketing and sales. He is leading the nation's most successful B2B sales team and has created successful brand campaign for Fortune 500 companies as well. Another guest speaker for today is Mr. Rahul Dasa, who is a legal professional with over 10 years of experience in the industry. And he is his futuristic views about inclusion of technology in the legal profession are noticeable in his research and publications. So I welcome all three of you to the webinar today. And it's a request to all of our attendees that in case if you have any questions, please drop those questions in the comment section below. We'll answer all your questions at the end of the session. Let's get started, Mr. Gehi, with the...
All right, so this is how the day is going to be divided. I mean, the session is that I'm going to start on a particular topic and just a little clarification for legal purposes that Rahul is a legal researcher, Mr. Brilliant, very good in law, office, technology, and the law. He's not admitted to practice law, but he loves basically the other part of law. But he's a JD who loves to basically do other things, and he's absolutely brilliant. Mike is not an attorney. He's brilliant in understanding the concept of how technology can be used in the legal sector. That's where he comes in, and he's very good in helping people with the immigration software, which is Immigration Speed, and with GP Speed, which is meant for all other lawyers who do other areas of the law, such as personal injury, matrimonial, etc. And Priyanjali is at the back, as you know, a fantastic moderator, and Anjali, who's our host, who everybody knows, I believe, today. So that's the panel. And how are we going to begin? The legal aspect will be coming from me. The tech aspect will be coming from Rahul and from Mike, who will actually explain you of how you can integrate law and technology. So this is law office technology related stuff that you're having. Why technology is playing a very important role. Rahul is going to talk to you the speed of technology and how the computer can even correct you at times in connection with the mistake that you're making. That's what my legal software is all about. All right. So let's get started. Now, what is family-based immigration? Layman's terms under the INA, there are categories starting from section 201 of the INA, wherein whom you can sponsor and what are the kind of relatives you can sponsor. So how does family-based immigration begin? You're a new lawyer, or you're a lawyer who wants to start as immigration practice. So, there are some low-hanging fruits in immigration. I tell people get started with family-based immigration, and I love to help people who want to start their own practice, really. So the first thing is that you have this fantastic amigo coming to your office, say, Senor, immigro sans problema. So most of the time, the thing is that I want to give up on this case. Don't do that. You may just need that TLC, tender love and care, to get it started. So family-based immigration starts with exactly whom can you sponsor. So number one is you got to know the type of relatives you can sponsor. And for example, if you're a US citizen, you have a lot more people you may be able to sponsor. But if you're a green card holder, commonly referred to as the permanent resident, you have a few categories you may be able to sponsor. So the number one thing that comes to my mind is that if you're an American citizen, you can sponsor your fiance, which is not allowed if you're a green card holder. Secondly, you can sponsor your spouse. You can sponsor your married sons and daughters. You can sponsor your brothers and sisters. You can sponsor your children under the age of 21, and you can sponsor your children over the age of 21. So looking at some major categories that you can sponsor. Green card holder has limitations. You can only sponsor your spouse, your children under 21, and your children over 21 who are unmarried. This is one category which is generally missed by lawyers. So family-based immigration involves sponsoring family members. That's the number one thing to do. And it's very important for you to know the forms that you have to use, how those forms that they can be used, and how you can get to the bottom line to make sure that you sponsored properly. Since it's going to be a step-by-step approach, now Rahul is going to display everything, how the forms work. Then after that, I'm going to talk about the second step, whether you're going to go for NVC processing for these cases, or whether you're going to go for adjustment of status. So Rahul, let's explain our viewers by means of simple examples. And let's start with a US citizen or a green card holder sponsoring his spouse who is in America and who is outside the United States. And let's start with, someone who's here on a visitor visa and someone who's legal right now and who's been here for 3 months, and she meets a US citizen. How would you start off with the forms aspect? Can you give an explanation and you can proceed further? Then later on, I'll jump in through my legal software.
Through my legal software, that is. So my legal software actually has a unique product called Immigration Speed that is specifically designed for immigration attorneys and is perfect for family-based immigration attorneys. This software is going to guide you step-by-step through the entire process of completing, for example, either an adjustment of status application for a spouse or immediate family beneficiary that's in the United States, or for those outside the United States. And it has unique features for each. And it starts when you create the case itself. In Immigration Speed, for example, there are specialized fields for alien registration numbers in addition to—
So Rahul, can you show something over here to our viewers? Yeah.
Let me see if I can share my screen.
Or Mike, can you show it either way? Or, Anjali, if you can show it from your demo panel, doesn't matter. So let people actually see that. because I need that so that I can explain the law on the point.
Sure.
And this session may go on a little longer, but it's going to be a very, very interesting session. So we can teach you step by step of where you can go wrong when you're doing our filings.
Okay. So let me share this screen.
Okay, whoever goes first will get a candy from me. How's that?
I just needed
All
to
right,
wait
Rahul,
for
so you won the candy. All right, great.
Okay.
So now, this is exactly what happens is that your I-130 client comes in. Now you're taking the example, all of you, of someone who's coming to your office and he's saying that I'm an American citizen and I met Jane over here. Jane is here on a visitor visa. Look at this, how slowly we are going. And now she's been here for 3 months. Now, when she's here for 3 months, the first thing you're seeing is that Jane is legal because she has a 6-month entry. So now, for people who want to write down notes, as I said, the advice given in this is general in nature and does not apply to any particular facts or circumstances. And this cannot be considered as legal advice and is only meant for training purposes. So now, since Jane is legal over here and John is a US citizen, the good news is that you're going to start up the case. And as Rahul said, because Jane is legal here, she's adjustable under section 245A. So what does 245 require? Should be admitted, inspected, or paroled. So Jane came with a visa, 6-month visa. Secondly, 2 months have passed and she met him now. So when she came in, critically important when I talk to Jane is to make sure that she did not have an intent to live in the United States. So that is equally important. Now she's here and now she met John. So Rahul is going to tell you how you're going to get started with them.
Sure. So this is where you would, during your initial intake with the client, and when you first, when they first retain you as your attorney, as their attorney rather, you would put in all the information that you need from them. You would put in for the client the first and last name. Some of these fields are required, though you can adjust those in MyLS when we install it for you, whichever fields you need to be required. And they also have immigration specific categories like the alien registration number. The case type numbers will include a number of visas and a number of basically groups of case types as well that you can customize for immigration itself.
As you've seen that over here, what you're doing, but Rahul, all this is the data page. You got the data of the client. I'm going to kind of go a little faster here. Then there's one very important feature is that you have to make sure that you follow the retainer very carefully here, because I'm speaking now from a legal standpoint. As you can see, the importance that every field is covered in my legal this is immigration speed, correct? So
this is immigration speed, yes.
So anything, the lawyer that has been assigned, so you can never miss anything here. So you got this, and then we can kind of go to the next. Most importantly is, then I see the retainer on top, Rahul, which you're showing them. Now, this is very important under every kind of state law. And I'm only going to talk about New York. It's important for you to have a retainer, especially because if there's a fight between your client or if there's something happens, the retainer is going to be the controlling document. And in this program, we made the retainer mandatory so that you cannot skip the retainer. You got the data here because automatically after you finish the screen, I believe the retainer comes up. Correct, Rahul?
Correct.
You go to the next screen then.
Let me just fill in. One moment, please. I have to actually stop sharing my screen for a moment.
All right, no problem. So, okay, no problem. So I'll continue now. So you've seen the screen wherein you got the data of the client. The data is done. Now you go to the retainer. Retainer is important for every lawyer in immigration. Doesn't matter where you are, because especially in New York, under the rules 137, you need a retainer if there's a dispute if the fees over $3,000 odd dollars. I think it's $3,000. Am I correct on that, or is it $2,500 still?
It's $3,000.
$3,000. So you need a retainer. Now you're asking John to pay your $5,000 fee. So you got a retainer. Now the thing is that for you to see if John is bearing, whether she is adjustable, she is legal, even if she's out of status, because he's a US citizen, she qualifies as an immediate relative. So even in this case, if Jane had overstayed a visa, she can still adjust because Section 245 allows a US citizen to file for an adjustment application, even if the person has overstayed the visa, because the person entered with the visa. So 245 makes it clear. And this is an exception only for immediate relatives. Only for immediate relatives. And what is the definition of immediate relatives? For people who are here, you need to learn the definition of immediate relative. Under the INA, an immediate relative is your spouse, your children under the age of 21, and your parents. So take an example about your parents, or your client's parents. They entered with the visa, they overstayed, no problem, because you are an American citizen and you're over 21, you can sponsor them, you're good to go. Your spouse came with the visa, she's been out of status for 22 years, doesn't have any adverse factors, she can still adjust. But she entered with a proper visa. But remember, there are some visas which are not acceptable, but I'm only in particular talking about a B2 visa right now, because this can also get confusing. That's why you need mentorship. If the person comes in on a C1D, you file, you can be in trouble. Mentorship is very important in law. So you have to know what you're doing is right or wrong. And those things only come through mentorship and through experience. So be careful. So here you come and you file the papers. Common mistake which new lawyers do. They'll only file the form I-130. And your client is going to yell and scream at you and ask you what happened to my work permit. Because you committed the mistake. You didn't file the forms properly. You should have applied for adjustment. Done. The other problem and the mistake which I've seen which lawyers do, okay, you're an American citizen, the person came in on a wrong visa, or basically came in EWI. EWI is Immigration Without Inspection. You cannot apply for 485. So these are mistakes which lawyers are committing, some of them, not all of them. This is the basic lesson. I'm talking about new lawyers. Then when you go to the immigration interview, your client failed the interview, he's mad at you, and you're just in trouble. Be very careful. So there are features here which can help you. There are backups which we've been providing to a lot of lawyers to just double check whether what they're doing is right or wrong. That's something that's helping a lot over here. Another problem which I've seen is that big mistakes when adjustments are filed. Now you filed for the adjustment. The bigger issue which I'm seeing is that the client did not qualify for a proper income under 213 of the INA. You don't have enough money as a petitioner. And a new lawyer is saying the beneficiary is making money. Good luck, attorney. Committed a mistake because the beneficiary's income cannot be accepted under section 213 of the INA. Rahul, am I correct on that? Since you work with me, do you agree?
Yes, if they're not authorized to work, then yes.
So you needed a joint sponsor there. Another problem with the joint sponsor, did you file the right form? Sometimes the immigration officer may tell you no, because the officer is correct. If the person lives in the same household, you need an 864A, not an 864. Go for the interview. Your client may not be happy. So you need to know when a person is adjustable under the INA, that's lesson number 1, and when a person is not adjustable. Some people don't even know the difference between an I-130 and a 485. So we are going to take a lot of questions since, I'd love to have some chats from people. So ask me questions that people can learn, and especially with people who really want to learn immigration and who want to elevate their skills. So the next question is whether the person is adjustable or no. That is a very, very important thing. And I-130, what does an I-130 do? It's a relative petition. So it just explains the relationship between the parties to see whether there's a bona fide relationship. 485 allows you to live in the country and get a green card. That's known as adjustment of status. But when a person is outside the country, that process is known as visa processing now. So can you show them some other screens about what does an I-130 look like over here? Can someone just show a form of how it is integrated with my legal software?
Yes, one moment, please.
And also, if you're an attorney, you'll need a G28 form. A G28 is a notice of appearance as an attorney.
Anjali, would you be able to bring up the demo site for Immigration Speed?
All right. So a G28 is a form which is a notice of appearance as an attorney, and an I-130 is a relative petition, which means that exactly the thing is that you want to just show that there's a proper relationship between the parties. Now, why does that become important? Because sometimes immigration can suspect your marriage. So when you're called for an interview, look at this. We have all the forms here that you can see from the resources, and also you can show the custom forms. And all this is a part of MYLS. So now this is an important form for you to know that this form is meant for people like who apply for the for the paperwork. As to now look at the form name is very important on top. USCIS online account number, name of attorney. This is the G28. So people who are new and who are starting an immigration practice, this is a very important form because you're saying that you are the attorney. Now be careful about one thing. Even seasoned lawyers, be very careful. Ask your client whom do you want him to represent. It can be the petitioner or the beneficiary, because tomorrow, if there is an issue, if the husband and wife or both, or if both husbands or both spouses who are women, if it's a lesbian case, if they fight, you need to make sure that you know whom you are representing. Because if there's a conflict of interest, this is where again the retainer comes back in MYLS. In MYLS, there are already you have retainers there which you can choose, and you can put the language clearly. So it clarifies your position when there's a conflict of interest. And one other mistake which some lawyers do.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gay, may I interrupt you?
Yes.
I'd like to point out that another feature that MyLS offers that is beneficial in situations like that is the participants feature, which highlights exactly what the relationship between the attorney and that particular participant in the case is. Some participants will be clients, some will be listed as a beneficiary, others may be contacts, or say a joint sponsor, somebody who's making the payments, but is not actually your client. You can identify those people so that if there is turnover in your firm and there are new people coming in who aren't familiar with the case, they can very easily see who the actual client is and what the relationship is between all the other parties and you, who you can disclose things to, who you're forbidden from disclosing to, and how you can ensure your ethical obligations to your client.
No, this was only done because there was a lot of research done in the invention of MyLegal software, because these were the problem which lawyers were having over the years. They didn't know what to do in such an instance, whom to represent. So God forbid tomorrow, if another lawyer comes into the picture, you are protected. Am I correct, Rahul? You can show them the screenshot, tell them, hey, listen, I have this and this can serve as evidence for you to prove your side of the story. And, always make peace with the other lawyers. So most lawyers are good. They understand that. That's why, people have been signing up for this product to make sure that, at least you'll be able to, comply with most of your ethical standards out here by using this program. This is a very helpful feature which Rahul is talking. Rahul, go on with some other thing that you'd like to say about this.
Sure. So in addition to the parties, if we can, so this is
no, the accounting also makes a big difference here, Rahul, because what happens is that the accounting feature can help them. What is the fee over here that you quoted the client, and that also matches with the retainer here.
Exactly.
That's a very important part here, if you realize. So the client cannot come back and tell you, hey, listen, I paid you 3,000, I have a zero balance. It's a double system. And also there's a credit card system which is attached over here. So you have 2 or 3 different ways of tracking the payment. So sometimes the case may come up after 2 years and the client may tell you, hey, I paid you the full amount. You can show him everything pinpointedly that this is the amount you spent. And this has helped me a lot, because especially when there's a fee dispute, Rahul, you can show them the entire history of the case. And God willing, you'll be winning most of the time, because in this, you have that entire history thing, which you may not find on other platforms to justify your fees to the court. And another thing that comes handy over here is when there is a fee dispute, you can also show the hourly billing of how many hours went on the case. So when you are before the arbitrator, you can let them know these are the hours, and you can even go through that. So thanks to Rahul and other members who actually figured these things out over the years, to make sure that the software covers literally most of the things which are needed in these regards. And this doesn't only apply to immigration, but the general practice speed has a similar features for general practice lawyers who can also use the other version of the software, which is only meant for other practitioners like, matrimonial practitioners and, PI and et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. MyLS makes accounting and payment collection incredibly seamless. From the moment you start the case, immediately after uploading the retainer, you'll be taken to the invoice page where you'll create a digital invoice that matches the terms of your retainer, provides reminders to both you and the client for when the next payment is due, records when the payments are paid, and actually through the client portal, you can actually send the reminder directly to the client and have them pay the fee there, all automated.
Right. So now let me get back to the substantial aspect of law that since we are learning now, since we'll be mixing it up together so people can really learn also at the same time. Now you retain the client, sign the retainer. Now, the most important thing for you is basically to do your legal research, whether the person is adjustable under 245. So with new lawyers and mid-level lawyers, they always like to double check, which is a great idea. We can, call Anjali and she'll be setting you up with someone to see whether you're doing the right thing or no, because that's what people call us for. Some questions that, am I doing the right thing? That's the most important thing. And now you give them the questionnaire. So MLS also has a questionnaire here, wherein you'll be giving them the questionnaire of when did you come and how did you come and what happens. And the good news is that data gets transported to the forms. Good for you, no double work needed. You're done with that, but make sure that when you meet your marriage-based client for the first time, let them know that if you're getting married, are you marrying for each other for love? Very important question. You can even lose your license if the person is going to tell you that exactly, I'm marrying to get only my green card. Tell that client to get out from your office. Have the audacity to say that if you're a professional lawyer. And let them know to leave your office because you're playing with your license when you're doing something like this. So now the client says, yes, I'm married for love. Now, let's reverse the table a bit, Rahul, over here. This is where a lot of lawyers get confused. This lady comes into this country over here with a 6-month visitor visa. And now, the thing is that she meets this wonderful green card holder whose name is Jason. And now Jason is a green card holder. He wants to marry Mary. Mary came in here, now twist the table, and Jason is a green card holder. Can you apply for the green card right away? My answer is yes today. Why? Because I am looking at the priority dates. For new lawyers, you should definitely understand the visa bulletin. And this is where a lot of even I would say, lawyers with 3 to 5 years of experience commit mistakes. They just apply for the I-130. They forget to apply for the 485. That's a big blunder you did right there, counselor. Because the person was adjustable and the priority date is saying current. Why didn't you apply for the green card? And the person may become illegal here, out of status, undocumented here. So don't commit that mistake. Just make sure that don't forget that even if a person is a green card holder and if his spouse is in legal status in the United States, they're adjustable. I'm talking about today, may not be in the future because I reviewed the visa bulletin. So now what Rahul is going to do, if he's working under me, he'll say, okay, client, come in. And he's going to use the customized forms of my legal software, finish up the forms, and then he's going to email it to the client. And he's going to be in touch with the client through the texting feature. Now, the reason he uses the texting feature, he doesn't want to get these 100 phone calls from the client, but they're going to call you 100 times. Or he's going to use the Zoom feature, which is integrated here, or he may use Google Meet. Rahul, can you show them a little bit of how this works? It'll be difficult, or even Mike can show them, or Mike, you can do some talking whenever you want. But let Rahul continue, then you can talk about it later, Mike.
Sure. And I did want to highlight one thing because you have mentioned a large number of forms so far, the I-130, the I-131, the I-864, the I-485. Immigration is a very form-based practice, immigration law. And in addition to that, a lot of the forms contain redundant information. Most of the forms will ask you for your client's alien registration number. Most of your forms will ask you for a mailing address. You will find yourself filling these same fields out over and over again. How MyLS helps you become more efficient is with our customizable forms. From a simple intake questionnaire that you fill out through the MyLS portal, your forms will automatically populate. Now, there are 3 things that distinguish MyLS's forms from many of the others on the market. One is how comprehensive they are. Every single EOIR form and USCIS form is available in MyLS's library. Anything that you would want to file before the Department of Homeland Security or an immigration court with the Department of Justice is here. The second is the extent of our accuracy. Many times you'll have to, spend just as much time double checking the actually automated forms to ensure that there are no glitches or errors, but MyLS is reliable about filling out the forms accurately. And then the final issue that I think sets MyLS apart is the automatic updating. You won't have to worry about the forms available being, out of date or calling MyLS to ensure that, we update our forms. MyLS will do that for you.
So now let's give, as I said, the whole idea is to mix and match here. So now, Rahul, right. So they applied for adjustment of status over here, and you're a green card holder, your client is a green card holder, and now Mary overstayed the visa. She's here for 8 months, and you applied for the adjustment. Can you do that? The answer is no, because Section 245 does not allow you, because your client is a green card holder. So these are tricky issues. So learn Section 245 very well. Now, what would be your option in that? Let me see who can give me an answer to that. I want lawyers to also answer, so they're learning at the same time. I know the answer, but I want people to ask us questions. And that's the only way a lot of people here who want to learn immigration will learn immigration. This is the three-way. It is an interactive portal wherein people can also learn. Rahul can teach the tech aspect, and I'll be teaching the substantive law. It's a win-win for everyone. So ask your questions, so I can teach a lot of people of exactly what they expect from us today. Eligibility requirements for immigrant visa beneficiaries and applicants for family-based immigration. Number one is should be adjustable in the United States. Secondly, good for people who are immediate relatives. Number two, third thing is good for people who are actually kind of in legal status, and or when the priority date is current. That's my answer to question number one. Required forms including work permit applications, affidavit support, and application for temporary travel. Mainly I-130, 485, I-765, I-864, I-693, and G28. That's exactly about it. Process of applying for lawful from the immigrant visa petition. Processes, you need to see whether the person is adjustable or whether the person qualifies for through the visa processing. That's the process, figure it out and go for that. Reasons for request for evidence and notice of intent to deny. That is going to be an advanced session in family-based immigration. And we're also going to talk about Stokes interviews at the next session. Next week, we have a very good, I would say, panel, and we're going to talk about special immigrant juveniles, SIDS, I believe. Correct, Anjali? That's the next session next week. Yes, and sir. We have some very good speakers that we would be surprising you with. So be ready for a surprise about SIDS next week. So you'll have some surprise speakers. People are coming up and they want to speak on this podium. Through this podium, you can get a lot of clients if you're a lawyer, because these videos are actually put in on Facebook and everything. People watches it, and you can get a lot of clients if you become a speaker and join. So these are important things. Now, when you apply, right? So you looked at whether the person is adjustable. Now, the next thing is that what are you going to wait for is whether you're going to get a request for evidence or you're going to get an interview notice. So before the interview, you may get a Stokes interview. Oh my God, be careful. So this means, like, sometimes I've seen in standalone I-130 cases, like when you know that the spouse is not adjustable, if the immigration has a doubt about the matter, they can even call you at any time. So what is the Stokes interview? We are going to discuss this at length after some time. And now, what happens after you met with your client? You want to be in touch with them, but you don't want the client to bother you too much, but you want the pertinent information. How can you use a MyLS for that, Rahul?
So, I'm sorry, could you repeat that question, Mr.
Now, you started the case, right?
Yes.
You give them the list of documents. Now, can you show them if you don't want the client to come to your office 100 times, how you can use Zoom over here from MyLS? That's the beauty of it. So Zoom is integrated with the software. So you can send them a Zoom link. You can send them a Google Meet from here, or you can send them an email from here. You can even text them from here.
Exactly. In addition to our client portal, we also have integrated video conferencing that makes preparing your clients for interviews or any other issues you may confront as seamless as if you were doing it in person. You can share your screen to go over and review documents. You can record the session for future review by your client or for any ethics or disputes that come up regarding your preparation of the client for the interview.
And also, another thing that I see, DocuSign can be very important if they want to even sign retainers or something and get everything done. If the client is from another state here, he's retaining you from another state, send him a DocuSign, get it signed, and you're good to go. This is also a part of my legal software.
Exactly. You can basically reach clients throughout the country and effectively represent them.
Not country, from all over the world.
Yes, even internationally if the beneficiary is outside the United States.
So
one more feature I think we should talk about is like for the uploaded file section, like we can upload any number of forms or any pictures.
We'll come to that. So now I will come to that. That's the next thing. So now what you have to do is when you meet with the client, right, you have to make sure that with the retainer, you have all the forms and everything in order. After that, you can scan and upload the forms. You have the mail out feature, you have the mail in feature here, and you also have the case notes feature. All that can be gone through, like when you'll take a special demo from Anjali. I think that's the better thing to do. They can schedule a demo with you and with Michael, who's very good at kind of training. So if anyone wants to schedule a demo, or call Anjali at her number, or you can reach Mike, who's a very good demo giver. And so, they're both in charge of it, who can give you demos and everything. If you're in New York, Mike can even come to your office and train you. And this is very easy, folks. This is not a rocket science. It's all on a platter. And this took more than 10 to 12 years, to get going, for us, because there was a lot of work that was needed in the softwares. Because what we've seen is a lot of softwares are not fully updated, because some of them either have the forms, but they don't have, many other features which are missing. So we, for example, this also has calendars for lawyers who practice deportations. This has calendars for people who have master calendar hearings. There are different things in the software, which I think once you schedule a demo, you'll understand that. Now, I come to a very important point since I'm talking with the law at the same time. So now suddenly what happens, you applied for the green card for the client and your client's date is coming up. So the good news is that you can use the Zoom feature and you can prepare the client from here. But remember, how do you prepare a client is important. Make sure that when your client goes to the interview, the 245 interview, I strongly recommend new lawyers and lawyers who've been in practice for a short period of time, please go with your client. Because if something goes wrong at the interview, it's really going to haunt you. And if you're a new lawyer, always take 3 copies of the file, because if you miss something, you'll be able to get it either from the client or from yourself, and make sure that you take a lot of joint documents, even if you're dealing with a marriage-based immigration case, or if you're dealing with, sponsoring your parents, because one mistake that a lot of lawyers do when they sponsor the parents is they don't take a lot of paperwork, and officers get mad because you feel that you're entitled to it. Immigration law is not an entitlement. The burden of proof is upon you to show by clear and convincing evidence or by a preponderance of evidence that the relationship is correct and the person is adjustable. So when you took your spouse over there, you just took the marriage certificate, you took pictures. Your fault. You did not meet the burden of proof. The officer is asking you, where are the joint tax returns if the case comes up after 1 year? Okay, where is the joint lease? Okay, and show me the wedding invitations. Okay, where are the joint bank accounts? Where is the health insurance? All these things should be taken for the interview to nail the interview. And you get this great one chance before the officer and make sure that you do the right thing and you're going to be good at that interview. So this is the first part, and we are going to break the segment out into today. I explained to you about a concurrent filing of an I-130 and a 485. And what I said is, remember, check whether the person is adjustable, check whether the person falls under the category of an immediate relative. And for people who want to learn immigration law, read section 101 of the INA, and that is going to teach you definitions. And the definition of immediate relative is important. You need to know that. You have to know what's a preference category under immigration law. So I am now going to hand this over to our tech experts, and they're not lawyers, so they'll be just giving you technical advice. Any advice given in this is general in nature. And the two people on the screen, they're not lawyers, but they're tech experts. So they're just talking to you about the technology and law. But if you need anything legal, I'm here for you on behalf of My Legal Software as the founder. And I think, Rahul, you may continue on this and show them the demos. And Michael has a lot to talk. And it's time for all three of you to continue this. And if you need me, I'll be back. Or if not, you may continue and go further on this.
So the questions have also started coming in. So maybe you can have a look at the questions.
So just the next 15 minutes is yours. Okay. To show everything. Then I'm back to answer the questions and substantiate the law begin, because I want people to understand everything in piecemeals. I want.
What's wrong with the internet? Instagram started.
I think you got cut out.
I think that there was a connectivity issue with his.
Yeah, Rahul. So,
but
why don't you proceed now and show about exactly up to the interview of how the software is used, and including exactly the case notes quickly, so they understand the process. And Michael can talk about it. Then I'll be back.
Sure. So let's go back to one of the first things that Mr. Gehi brought up, which is the priority date, the visa bulletin, and the eligibility for permanent residency on that basis. Now, while Mr. Gehi's example involved a client that had a current priority date, that's often not the case. If you look at the visa bulletin at the moment, can say your client is, the petitioner is a permanent resident and the beneficiary is from the Philippines. Currently, there is a 10-year wait period for NVC processing. In cases like this, an individual matter might last over a decade. And so when starting the case, MyLS offers you two features that help you keep track of it over the years. The first is that you can highlight that it's a National Visa Center case. These cases will disproportionately have, either very long wait times or unusual wait times that you want to keep on top of. So we offer two basic features to help you do so. The first is the lifeline date. This is a date that helps you set a reminder very far in the future to check in on a case. So for example, if you started a case in 2012, you might have set it for 2018, just to make sure that everything is still proceeding at the same pace. And then the second, again, is to highlight all of the National Visa Center cases, and you can filter through those in your audits. The next issue that MyLS is useful for in immigrant visa processing is with the case notes themselves. Obviously, you will have in an adjustment of status application, for example, a number of different applications, and perhaps in your law firm or your practice, you have different levels, you have people with different levels of experience and specialization, or skill sets that you have set up, where one person is good at or has experience with applying for employment authorization, whereas a more senior person may have experience responding to very complicated requests for evidence or notices of intent to deny, which were brought up earlier. In this instance, you might not want an individual case assigned to one person. Maybe different aspects of the case would be assigned to different people. And here we have a specific task function that allows you to assign, say, all of just the 765, the employment authorization application, to one person, whereas you can also perhaps assign the case to one person for the visa petition. And then if you have, say, somebody who focuses on your NVC work later on, you can reassign the case then and track the history of the case to ensure that everybody was doing their part along the way. The next thing that I think is very useful in preparing clients, especially prior to the interview, is the client portal, which we've touched on already, but it basically allows you to communicate with the client almost entirely through MyLS and have records of your communications. You can send and receive announcements through the client portal to your client. You can provide them with updates, limited updates that show them only what you want to show them. The client can submit and upload documents through the client portal that will be accessible to you in your uploaded files. The client can actually, through the client portal, fill out the questionnaires themselves that you would need for all of your forms, and actually save you even the initial work of filling out the questionnaire that will auto-populate all of the forms. And finally, the client can also make payments. And you, again, can video conference with the client, send them text messages, and communicate that way. So that's a really great help to immigration attorneys, where finding out the information, ensuring that it's accurately inputted, and getting the supporting evidence are all very big parts of the practice, and they're all very easy with MyLS.
Also, Rahul, I'd like to mention some of our clients or some of the people who we have spoken to normally don't use any software. They use their email account or like Gmail account for sending out the files and the forms and stuff like that. So in some of the cases, what happens is sometimes we attach, or the lawyers or the paralegals attach maybe the wrong attachment, or maybe sometimes the attachment is missing, or sometimes the file is too large to send. So all of that can also be sorted using MyLS. In the uploaded file section, you can upload any of the document that you would want to. And if you want to send it directly to the client, you can simply click on that checkbox and send here using the send files option. This particular thing would go this particular form or the document would go as an attachment to any of the person that you would want to send it to in the form of an email. So all you have to do is add a subject line, a recipient, and a message to go along with. So maybe it could be like, hey, I'm attaching the form, kindly have a look if it's correct. Or, if you want to share it on any driving slip or any, plane ticket, and all of that can also be done using this particular space as well. So that's what we have tried to provide, the law firms, the lawyers, or the paralegals to have a 360-degree solution, so that they don't really have to jump from one window to the other window for doing one or the other activity. Also, let's give a just a brief introduction about the templates feature, because I think most of the people some or the other time you have to file say you have to put an appeal or a memo or any addendum to the case that is going on. So you can also attach any templates related to that case, which it's not a form. So templates are basically a Word document that you use or edit on a daily basis. So there's no redundancy in the activity. All you have to do is attach that template to this particular case, and your caseworker can work accordingly.
Exactly. For any commonly used memo or brief or even letter that you would commonly find, you can save the templates there so that whoever you assign to the case has a model to work off of. And in addition to that, one thing I wanted to note prior to moving on is the case notes feature. Anjali was just mentioning that you can email any uploaded files to the client. One thing that MyLS does is when you send that email, it will create a case note recording that action. So even if you or your employees are accidentally negligent about recording your activity, MyLS is there to ensure that you have a log of all the actions you've taken through MyLS on this matter.
So Rahul, let me just also come back, because how we like to jump in to teach people. Now,
Yes.
There's one important question that came up. So let me take some more questions. And thank you so much, folks, for this interactive session. We want people to learn, because MYLS is not only about just basically, getting busy with this. We are here to train lawyers too. That's what I love to do. I love to teach people, because we need good lawyers in the country. And we'll also be doing some other sessions with some other people on labor law. We'll also be doing other sections on matrimonial law. We also have someone who's going to talk about residential closings. So that is going to be the GP section. And that's why we're looking for good speakers. So now, how long does it take for family-based immigration? It depends on the category. So if you are married to a US citizen, and if the person is in America, looking at 6 to 8 months, approximately to get the, can you talk about I-730s? I can talk about 730s, and that comes up in asylum matters. And when you apply, your spouse is abroad, you apply for a 730, you have to wait for consular processing, and then that can take time. Those forms are also included in my legal software. What is the process of applying for a family-based green card? The process is to start looking at whether the person qualifies as a relative. Sometimes the person may not qualify as a relative when you apply. For a simple example is, we are an American citizen, okay? And you're applying for a stepchild who's 19 years old. You cannot do that. because the step relationship was not formed before the 18th birthday, because you married this lady, when her oldest child was 19 years old. So the answer is no. So these are mistakes which lawyers commit when they apply for the I-130. Be careful who is sponsoring whom, and these are major, major mistakes that happen and that can haunt you. So get a mentor or get someone who can help you, or just do some hand holding for you. So these are some important things that people have to know. Reasons for request for evidence and notice of intent to deny. Poor job sometimes, by lawyers can also result in a notice of intent to deny. Not from all of them, but people who are new to immigration, you applied under the wrong category. You applied for an adjustment of status over here, and by mistake, the officer accepted your file, which doesn't happen. He'll say the priority date was not current. Why the hell did you apply? You got a client in troubled waters. He's not adjustable at the stage, or the category is incorrect. And I remember in one case wherein what the lawyer did, the sister had to sponsor the sister. He put the name of the brother-in-law as the beneficiary and the sister, as the derivative beneficiary. He's got denied after many years. Wrong category. So in family-based immigration, for new lawyers and for lawyers who want to learn with us, your next homework from me before my next session is, you all are going to learn is section 101 of the INA. Learn definitions. And your next lesson for all of you who want to learn immigration law from me is start reading the visa bulletin. So I may ask you questions and I may puzzle you, I may trouble you to make sure that you become a good immigration lawyer, if that's your goal, to add that extra money in your wallet. How's that, Rahul?
Sounds great.
All right. So now, Mike, do you have any questions over here? Or is there something?
No, you guys covered everything very well. I think that, immigration, it's very form driven. It's very organized driven. I think that it's better to have less when you want to work with your software. If you have a good software, everything else will fall into place. You don't want to have more complications for organization. So especially when starting a family immigration, you want to start with a good foundation. I think My Legal Software is a great foundation.
Mike, you also have clients who are using it. Like I know that one of your clients is a retired judge who's using it. Does he love the software?
Yes, it's great for them.
And remember, his client is not only an immigration, he doesn't do immigration, but he uses GP Speed. He's in love with it. And this wonderful person was new to technology and he's adopted very well, right?
Yeah, they're very focused on real estate attorneys and real estate law or estate law.
And which is the product they're using from you?
The general practice speed.
And can general practice be used by any lawyer? Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, anyone. It's a very well organized system. It has most of the features that Immigration Speed has, minus the custom forms. I would say that if you're thinking about,
but even if they don't have the custom forms, you have Dropbox wherein they can, just download all the forms and you can use that every day.
Yeah,
so like in my case, I prefer GP Speed for me, because beside immigration, we also do matrimonial and everything. We use GP Speed because that covers immigration, that covers matrimonial for us, that covers everything. So what I do is I upload all those folders and use them as templates, and we are good to go. That's how I use it.
Yes,
For people who are only focused on immigration, they should go for Immigration Speed. But if you're doing general practice, I think GP covers immigration plus other aspects. What would you say on that, Mike?
Yeah, it depends on how many immigration cases you have. I would say that if you're bringing in more than 1 or 2 immigration cases in a month, then it would make sense to have the Immigration Speed. But because it's always nice to have, and it makes it very easy and with the custom forms and everything. But if you're not bringing in that many immigration clients, then general speed is just fine and works perfect.
Right. Also, another thing, folks, even if you're practicing any area of the law, or wireless as people, I'm talking in my capacity as a founder over here, and this has no connection with Gay and Associates. I want to make that clear. So over here, from My Legal Software, we have people in the team who can help you with legal research. So if you want to start a deportation practice, we can help you out. You want to start a family-based immigration practice, we can help you with legal research. Doesn't matter where you are in the country. And also one good thing about Mike is he visits your office personally in New York City, in New Jersey, and in Connecticut. and even in Pennsylvania if needed if you're a big firm. So that training is also provided in your office if needed, or on Zoom for sure by these people who are very good at the use of my legal software. So I think we've covered enough ground. And now, Anjali, our next session is going to be about SIJ. For people who don't know what a SIJ is, Special Immigrant Juvenile. Who's going to benefit? Look at it. Not only immigration lawyers, but people who practice guardianships are going to benefit in New York. So if you know anyone who does guardianship, tell them to attend. So now you're going to see how my legal software can be used, especially GP Speed can be used for guardianships over here. And Rahul will be doing a lot of talking about how it can be very handy in filing such applications, Rahul. And plus we'll have some other people who are very good in filing special immigrant juvenile who should attend: adoption attorneys, guardianship lawyers, immigration lawyers. So we are taking the ball to the next level to show you besides immigration, it can be used for other, kind of, practice areas for sure. So if you have any other questions, please let us know. I hope people learned. So today, people who are on the session, I want them to become good in what is the visa bulletin, what is section 203 of the INA, what is section 101 of the INA, and what is section 201 of the INA. So this is your homework. And then one of the most complicated sections in future, it's going to be 245, and we're going to touch it future. So next time, we are going to talk about the standalone I-130, and that will be coming up not the following Thursday, 14 days from now. We'll be talking about when do you file a standalone I-130 petition, and that's going to be ABCs of the standalone I-130 petition. MILS is known for using the word ABCs, so even experienced lawyers can learn, new lawyers can learn, intermediate lawyers can learn from us. So next week, as I said, is going to be about SIJs. The week after that, standalone I-130 with Attorney Gehi. So you all may continue, and thank you. The closing, will be done by Anjali and by Rahul and by Mike. Thank you, folks. And it's time for them to do some talking. I hope you enjoyed these substantive aspects of law. Any advice is general in nature, and it's spoken on behalf of Bilegal Software as the founder, and does not apply to me in my personal capacity under any circumstances. And nothing in this particular segment is specific legal advice. And, and we do not guarantee outcomes of anything out here. And I'm an attorney, and Rahul is a legal researcher, not an attorney. Mike is exactly the sales and the marketing trainer, and so is Anjali if needed. And thank you, Priyanjali, for hosting such a great session. But Rahul and I think Anjali wants to say something about our next seminars, of why that's important, and she's going to continue. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Gehi. And for the audience, the next session would be at the same time, Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. EST. And we'd be waiting for you with a guest speaker and, of course, Mr. Naresh Gehi with us. And in case if you like the software, or if you are willing to see more features, if you want to know how you can make more money in your business, or how you can expand your services, so get in touch with me. My number is 212-390-9493, as you can see on my backdrop. Or you can send me a direct email at Anjali, that's ANJALI, at mylegalsoftware.com. And I'd be more than happy to have a meeting with you as per your availability. And if you are based out of New York, then Mike can visit your office for a training or a demo purpose. And just say a hello on the email, even if you're not looking for a demo, because I'd love to connect with the people who are watching us. And Rahul, you want to say something about like the coming webinars, or if you want to have any closing statement, this is your time.
Thank you. And I would like to thank everybody else who joined today. It was a great privilege to be able to talk to you about both our software and its uses in the immigration process itself. I think that you'll find that immigration speed in particular is a really, really great.
Powerful.
Yeah, specifically for immigration attorneys, but it can, and as can my legal software, help even non-immigration attorneys get into that area of law. We have both mentors and researchers, as Mr. Gehi said, but also software that's designed to guide you step by step through the process and ensure that we can help you, overcome any potential lapses and stop them before they occur.
There's one thing I would like to add for people who practice deportation. There's a very special segment in this entire software for deportation attorneys. especially for deportation defense, you have a completely different portion devoted to deportation defense, which you may not find in other softwares, because that was my specialty. And I had to put in a lot of time and effort to understand the 1-800 numbers, right? From understanding exactly, WebEx to, everything that is needed, in today's kind of changing asylum cases, cancellation cases, or, waivers and everything. I did put in a lot of time in the development of the deportation section or the deportation defense section for sure.
Exactly. And I'm sure that you will address that in a future session. But again, just to briefly go over it, there are features for call updates, master hearings, individual hearings, the 1-year deadline for asylum cases, anything that you can think of with deportation. MyLS has, features that can be of use to you.
I think we should have a separate section.
Definitely, we'll have that first. Let me finish the family-based, because
yeah, that's a later.
What's going to happen, Rahul? All these people are going to become experts, and they're going to train me very soon. So all the people who are here, I want them to become experts. And when they tell you, Mr. Gay, I can teach you now. That's what I'm looking forward to, people who are attending. And I hope you all love the session. And people who want to learn immigration law, people who want to add immigration to the practice, start attending, spread the message that we are here to teach you and grow your practice with My Legal Software. I'm speaking on behalf of in my capacity as the speaker of My Legal Software, and not in my capacity as an attorney who's in private practice. Thank you, folks. We'll be back in next week. And don't forget next week, SIJ, and don't forget to schedule your demos. And if you like it or like the session, share it and contact Anjali. And Anjali, your number is
212-390-9493.
And we are a New York-based company, and you can reach us out. Mike, your number is the same, and people can reach out to Mike at any time. And thank you, and we'll see you next week. Anything else to add, folks?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rahul. Thank you, Mike,
Thank you.
and thank you, Mr. Gay.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.